New videos every day.
So before we get started today, I want to ask you a question. How many hours a day do you spend on the internet? Whether it's work or it's play. What I want you to do is pause the video, give me your comments, and then replay the video. So today we're going to talk about internet addiction. As you may have heard in the news, psychiatrists want to add internet addiction as a mental illness in the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Okay, so they want to add internet addiction to the book, and they have 3 categories they want to add. The first one is gaming. In other words, do you play any games on the internet? The second would be sexual preoccupation. Do you look at porn? And the last, and the one I consider the most ridiculous, is emailing and texting. The idea of medicalizing internet use isn't new. The concept actually started as a joke in 1995 when Ivan Goldberg, a New York psychiatrist, urged his colleagues to formally recognize internet addiction disorder. He was flooded with correspondence from peers who wished to discuss, explore, and study this newfound addiction. So the idea was originally a joke. So another symptom of internet addiction is whether or not you feel compelled to constantly upgrade your computer. Before they had computers, you might have noticed that people spent a lot of time with their cars, upgrading their cars, spending lots of time getting rims, doing all that sort of thing. And even now, sometimes you'll see people do that. I know when I was growing up, my dad one day got an aquarium, and the next thing I knew, he had aquariums all over the house, every room. And is that a symptom of a mental illness, or is that just a hobby? So the thing about this book is it's not really a psychology book, it's a psychiatry book. And if you take psychology in college, one of the courses you'll be taking is abnormal psychology. And in that course, you'll study this book. This book wasn't made by the American Psychological Association. It was made by the American Psychiatric Association, and there's a difference. Psychiatrists vote on a mental disorder, and it gets placed in this book. And since psychiatry is a medical practice, anything that goes in this book is viewed as a medical diagnosis. And as you know, psychiatrists mainly treat using drugs. So when something goes in this book, it becomes an official diagnosable illness, which is something not just used by psychiatrists, but used by medical doctors as well. Most people on antidepressants have gotten those from their medical doctors, not from their psychiatrists. And most medical doctors haven't had any training in psychology whatsoever. So before you decide to make something a medical illness, you might want to make sure that there's a valid medical treatment for it or not. And I'm going to tell you right now, there's no drug that can magically cure any type of addiction. Okay, so what are they going to do for internet addiction? They're going to take your games away. And once you've decided your life is boring because you have nothing to do, they're going to give you antidepressants to make you numb to it all. Or I guess if you're into pornography, we can always give you antidepressants, which we know causes sexual dysfunction. You might not be interested in looking at porn anymore, but you might also not be interested in looking at your wife either. So the one that I highly object to is the texting and chatting with people, because heaven forbid psychiatry decides to label communicating with other people or talking with other people as a mental disorder. We're social beings. We're supposed to be able to communicate with other people how we see fit, any medium we want to. And if they were to label that as a mental disorder, that would be really bad. What I really want to know is how come they're going to add internet as addiction and not television? I wonder if it's because 40% of all television revenue comes from pharmaceuticals. They want you watching television because how many times a day do you have an ad tell you to ask your doctor about a pill? So my theory, if you want to make internet addiction disappear from mental disorders, is put pharmaceutical ads in the game. For instance, imagine this. You're in World of Warcraft flying around on your epic mount, and you look down and there's this big sign that says, "Ask your doctor if Zoloft is right for you." I'm not trying to poke fun at anybody if they're spending too much time on the internet and if it's messing up their lives. And if you do have a problem with that, I can do a video later on how to overcome internet addiction. So what do you think? Do you think internet addiction should be classified as a medical disorder or not? So I really want to know what you think. So leave a comment, rate the video, and I'll be back soon, so subscribe. See you next time.